What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten channel. Going to give you a very early projected record for the UCLA Bruins here in this video. Before we get to 2024, let's look back at some of the projections from 2023. Here were some of the projections for UCLA last season. Of course, going 8-4, and check this out. Our projection was 8-4. Our prediction 8-4. Athlon 8-4. The over/under 8.5. So this team was right on the money. Exactly where they were expected to be. Of course, the over/under, they did go with 8.5, so they thought it was more likely that they could get to 9-3 than 7-5. You know, UCLA lost some games last year that really make you scratch your head, especially late in the season. Arizona State, I think Cal. So it could have actually been 9-3. It wouldn't have been that big of a surprise if they had gone 9-3. But yeah, they were 8-4, right where they were expected to be. Let's see what the projection looks like this year, of course, with a move to the Big Ten. Here's the scale that we will be using. If it's less than 20 over 80, those are games that are counted as wins or losses, pretty much guaranteed wins or losses. Of course, nothing's guaranteed in sports, but pretty much guaranteed. 20-29, 71-80, those are games where I think the spread is going to be double digits. You're going to have a pretty big favorite, a pretty clear favorite in those games. 30-39, 61-70, games where it's going to be closer to a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points. And then your 50-50 games that could really go either way. You might have a 3, 4, 5 point spread in those games, but we're going conservative with these projections like we always do. So I think for the start here, you go with Hawaii in the blue. Now UCLA is, they're not really expected to be great with the coaching changes. They've lost a decent amount of production from last season. The roster is better, I think, than people are giving them credit for, but still, I don't think they're going to be a great team. So I'm going to say going on the road there to Hawaii. We'll put that in the blue instead of the green. Maybe it should be in the green, but I'll tell you what, if it was in the green, it actually would not change the projection. All right, so now we got games in the purple, Indiana and Fresno State. Fresno State's, of course, a good group of 5 team. And how weird is it that UCLA plays Fresno State the last week of the season? Indiana, a team that was pretty awful last year. I actually think they're going to be better. So if I was predicting that game, I would put that more in the 50-50 category. But again, with the scale that we use, that one does come out in the purple. Home game for UCLA. They should be favored and maybe by a touchdown. We'll see. So those are your 2 games where I think they're going to be, or 3 games where I think they're going to be the favorites. How about the games where they'll be underdogs? We got Washington first. I think they're going to be about a touchdown underdog in this one. Both teams in similar situations with the coaching changes and a lot of roster turnover, but this game's on the road. I think Washington's still a little bit better team. And again, being on the road is the difference. That's why that one's in the yellow. And then we've got LSU, Oregon, and Penn State. And again, how about that stretch? Those 3 games in a row, absolutely brutal. LSU on the road, Penn State on the road, and then Oregon. So yeah, I think you don't really give UCLA much of a chance in these games, honestly. I think they're going to be at least 2 touchdown underdogs in all 3 of those. And then the rest of the schedule here, really, it's a lot of 50-50 games. Minnesota, Rutgers, Nebraska, Iowa, USC. These are all games that could really go either way. If I had to pick, man, Minnesota's a tough one. I don't know who I'd say will be favored there. Rutgers as well is tough. Nebraska maybe favored by a little bit because they're at home. Iowa, I think, will be a better team. But the games at UCLA, I still think Iowa's probably favored in that game. Same thing with USC. I think USC will probably be favored. So you're looking at those games, and they could easily lose all 5 of them. I mean, would not be a shocker. Or let's say they lose 4 of them and go 4-8. You can see how this could be a pretty bad season for UCLA with a very tough schedule. I'm not saying they'll go 4-8, but it is possible with this schedule. But for our projection, when we average everything out, it's a little bit better than 4-8. The projection is 6-6, so that's what we get with UCLA. I can tell you it was closer to 5-7 than 7-5. This number was 6.65 maybe, or I can't remember the number, but it was closer, or excuse me, 5 point something. It was 5.9, or I can't remember the number. Anyways, it was below 6-6, below 6 wins. Not above 6 wins. So 5-7 more likely than 6-6. I haven't seen the over/under, but just using our math, that would probably put the over/under at 5.5 games for UCLA. And it could be tough for them to get to a bowl game. Again, if you lose those 4 games where they're going to be clear underdogs, if you lose on the road at Rutgers and Nebraska, and you lose to Iowa or USC, there you go. You're not making a bowl game. So I think it's going to be a tough season for UCLA, but maybe they can get to a bowl game, and that's what the projection says. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Give me your thoughts on this team down in the comments below.